welcome back to my channel, dolls. Today I want to share my entire outerwear collection with you. All of these pieces are 60s and 70s styles. Some of them, most of them are actually from the time. Some of them are replica pieces. They're pretty much all either thrifted or were gifted to me, or some of them are just have been kind of in my collection for many years. I know winter is kind of coming to an end, so I decided to put all the outerwear pieces in here. So these are also lighter jackets that are definitely more suitable for spring and fall, and there are also some ponchos, just some different kinds of jackets and outerwear pieces. I haven't included my vests here. I'm not sure if I made a video on them, but if you're interested in seeing all of my vests and waistcoats, leave a comment down below. I can definitely make that happen. So these are not in any particular order. I have kind of like an entire closet dedicated to my shoes and jackets. So I'm just gonna pick whichever comes up and we're gonna talk about it. I want to start with this jacket. This is a very special piece to me because my grandma got it and then handed it over to me. So she actually got this tailored and I am very luckily her size. This is just such a perfect jacket. It is a fur coat. This kind of fur, someone told me what it was called in English. I don't quite recall it, but basically it kind of looks like it was brushed into place. It is very soft and nice. This is more of like a cropped version of a fur coat, so it's definitely a jacket style, and while it looks more thin, it keeps me really nice and warm. I love this jacket. I feel like the shorter look was definitely something that was popular in the 60s. The longer coats were too, but I feel like the shorter ones are often looking a little more modern. They kind of work really well with the mod silhouette. So yeah, this jacket is from the late 60s with a dreamy little tag on the inside, and I really love it. I have been wearing this jacket a lot. I'm just gonna put up videos of me wearing all of these jackets so that you can kind of see what they look like worn. Moving on with this dreamy little jacket. I love the little like Peter Pan style collar. This is an H&M jacket that my mom got, so it's not vintage. It's probably from the late 90s or early 2000s, which that might be considered vintage now, but it's definitely not from the 60s. However, it has that dreamy 60s look. It has such an original feeling to it. The way that the sleeves are a little more cropped, it is very loosely cut, and I honestly love this jacket. This one is definitely a lot thinner. During winter, I kind of like to wear this in place of a pullover, and then during spring and fall, and even like a little more of a chillier summer night, this is just the perfect jacket. Next up is this dreamy coat. This is a velvet coat embroidered all over. I got this gifted by the Hippie Shake. I think this was their spring line of last year. I don't quite recall it. It has like, oh yeah, it says 1967 right here. I love this jacket. It is so dreamy, so warm and cozy. I also like to wear this kind of like around the house. I wore this to a festival last summer. Basically, it's just great for a day where it is kind of hot and then you can bundle up in it, or just like a colder day in general. This is just like a very cozy and comfy little jacket. Keeping it going, next up is this little coat. I'm just trying to give you like a little close-up of the material. This is such an interesting piece. I got it and I think it had a skirt. I think it was a set. I don't quite recall it actually. I think the skirt I gave away at one point. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I gave it away at one point. But what I love about this is that it's a very light material, but it definitely has like that biba look to it, while you can definitely wear it during spring and summer just because it is very thin. I love a summer coat. I think that that's just something that was popular in the 60s and 70s, and it is just a great look. Moving on with another classic, a corduroy blazer jacket. I really like this one. This kind of shape of collar was quite popular in the 60s and 70s. It's a dark brown color. There is not much to it. It is a pretty basic piece, but I really love that. I think it is great for layering and styling, and overall, this is definitely a piece that I find myself sometimes looking in my closet, and I have so many very outstanding vintage pieces that sometimes having something like this that is just a little more basic, it is great to just be worn with all of these pieces, because I feel like sometimes it just all gets a little much and I need like a neutral to balance the outfit. This next piece is so special. I actually got this in a thrift with me with you. This is the perfect Penny Lane tapestry coat. It is from the late 60s. I Love it so much. This is definitely one of the more expensive vintage pieces that I got. I think it was 50 or 60 euros, which I know people buy these for like a lot more, but I was so lucky and I couldn't pass it. It is my perfect size. I love the clasps because they're kind of like this metal style clasp, so they just are really, really perfect. I love to wear this. These kind of coats were really popular in the late 60s, and I pretty much wear this coat every winter, every fall. I just cannot get enough of it. It is truly one of my favorite outerwear pieces. Speaking of Penny Lane style pieces, I also have this one. This is like a shorter version of a Penny Lane coat, so it's more of like a jacket. This was definitely also popular in the late 60s going into the 70s. I love the patchwork. It is such a dreamy piece. This one was actually gifted to me by a friend. She got it and then didn't like it anymore, I think, or it didn't really fit her that well. I don't even know, but it ended up in my wardrobe and I'm wearing it so much. I love it. I think wearing this with something else that is also suede is just perfect. Next up, I have this jacket that I kind of makeshift put together. So I got this leather jacket that is like the outer jacket, and I really liked it, but it was a little big on me. And then I found this jacket that is on the inside that is definitely not like a vintage piece. It's probably also from like the 90s, 2000s. And I just layered it to create that Penny Lane kind of look. So you have the fur trim around your wrists and then also around the collar. And I really like the combination of these two jackets. I still have to be honest, I don't wear it that much, but it is just a little big on me, so I don't wear it that often. Maybe I will part with it one day, but it even like has the cool imprinted leather logo that I really love. So this was one of like the first 70s style pieces, 60s style pieces that I had, and I remember at the time Penny Lane coats were just really expensive and I wasn't able to afford it, and so finding this was just a great solution for me. Next up, this is one of my truly prized possessions. This coat is such a dream come true. It is a probably late 60s dark green leather coat. It has the coolest little belt. I love, love, love the dagger collar. Everything about this is simply perfect. The way the pockets are sewn, it's just such a dream piece. And I also think I got this in a thrift with me. I don't quite recall it, but I remember it being really discounted for some reason. And I think I got this for 20 or 30 bucks. It definitely was a great deal, and I love this coat. This is such a statement coat. It kind of gives me the feeling of these like 60s, 70s celebrities entering the airport for some reason. I honestly love it. It's such a cool, very unique piece, and I'm really, really glad that I picked this up. I keep looking in the viewfinder because I cut my bangs and I don't know if I like it. I think I did them very angular. I think I like it, but I also like, sometimes I like fade them a little more, so today it's just a very angular look. Anyway, let's keep it going. Next up is a denim jacket. I have, I think, 2 denim jackets. I actually took this one to a flea market, and so it still has like the little tag. It didn't sell and I'm happy about it because I kind of changed my mind about it. I love this jacket. It's like a denim jacket, but it has a very fitted cut, and I think that that's really cool for a 60s and 70s look, because I also have one that is a little more oversized and like a thicker denim. But what I really like about this one is that because of the way it is cut, it works really well with like a lot of 70s looks. I feel like 70s denim jackets were often quite tight, so I really like this even for like a late 60s look. And then this little button I got in Brooklyn. I like lived in New York for like a little hot minute. Yeah, this was like a crafting and supply store kind of close to where I lived, and I love to go there, and so I got a button at one day and I just like the disco ball kind of look of it. So it stayed on that jacket. Moving on with, oh, this I also took to the flea market and it didn't sell, which I'm once again not really mad about. This is like a poncho kind of look. I'm still looking for the perfect vintage poncho. But I have this, and it is like such a cool little, it even kind of is like a carpet or a blanket that you can wear. It has all of these psychedelic, really cool details. I love it. It is so nice and warm. I feel like I can't really show you what it looks like. The try-on will definitely be a lot more telling with this. But this is just such a cozy piece. I love to snuggle up in it. And I'm honestly so glad that I got it, because I think, if I recall it correctly, I got this in a vintage shop in the scarf section, so I think it was only like a couple of bucks. Moving on with a corduroy coat. I feel like corduroy was such a big trend in the 60s and 70s, and I once found this coat that I just so love. It is a little lined, which actually is really nice for days where it just is a little colder out. I love it. It's like a very thick sort of corduroy. I don't know, this coat has really a special place in my heart. It has some buttons on the sleeves, and this one is just so perfect for like a Jane Birkin kind of laid back 60s look. This next jacket, I've had for so long. It is not vintage. I have no clue where I got it. I've probably had this for, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years. This was a jacket I wore a lot when I used to work in the movie industry. I was a prop master when it was really cold because of the hood. So I still have it because sometimes when I do like an Edie Sedgwick look or something, I think it kind of works because it's like, it has that texture that is kind of fur-like, and then it's like a plush kind of jacket. I think that's the best way to describe it. It has like some buttons, some pockets, and it has this big hood, and I think the hood is the part that really makes this jacket look a lot more modern. I don't know, I can't really part with it. It is so cozy and comfy, and I just honestly really like to wear it. It is a cool jacket. I think like back here it's still the softest. The other areas are not as soft anymore because I just wore it so much. I don't know, maybe one day I will part with it, but for now I feel like every now and then, like once a year, there is a look where I still wear it, and then I think it is fine, but honestly it probably doesn't justify me keeping it for wearing it once a year. This was another one of my very early 60s and 70s vintage finds. I got this in Brighton. My mom lived there for like a winter or fall. I'm not entirely sure about that, but she just lived there for a couple of months, and my boyfriend at the time and I flew out and went to like a bunch of thrift stores, and I picked up this jacket. It is so warm. It has served me so well. It has unfortunately a little hole back here. Oh, it's not so little anymore. I need to re-sew it. Since the leather already has the holes, I think I might be able to do it by hand. Not entirely sure, but I really, really like it. This is just a classic sheepskin kind of jacket. It is so warm and nice. It's a very classic cut, almost like a trench coat kind of silhouette. And this kind of jacket was just so popular in the 60s. And I honestly love it because I feel like sometimes with the fur coats, it looks a little more overdressed. And I don't mind being overdressed, but I feel like sometimes this is just a little more casual. Oh, this next one. This is one of my most treasured jackets. It is a 1960s rain jacket. It is so perfect. Everything. The color, the sleeves. It's not the most functional, if I'm being fully honest, because the sleeves are a little cropped. But the jacket is just such a dream come true. The buttons, the details, the vinyl leather, everything about this is to die for. This is definitely one of my most treasured, most worn pieces. Next up is this piece. This is so special. I kind of need to hold it. It's so shiny. It kind of keeps like falling off the hanger. This is a vintage jacket with the coolest little, I don't know, the fabric and everything. It reminds me of Biba as well. It kind of has like, I want to say Chinese, Asian influences. Don't quote me on that. I'm not too sure about it. But honestly, I just love it. The shiny fabric, everything about it. It is so chic, so different. And I think that this is like very perfect for Estad Abiba look. These kind of like delicate fabrics, which was popular in the late 60s. And I really like this jacket. It is very thin. So this is definitely great for like a summer day, a spring day, just like a day where you kind of want something, but not like a full jacket, if that makes any sense. Maybe keeping it going with these sort of jackets, I also have this one, which I am pretty sure isn't actually vintage. I mean, I don't know, but just judging by the way that it is made, it might be vintage and it might be old, but I don't know, I have this feeling that it also might not. It doesn't matter, honestly, because it just has a great look. It has that kind of like witchy look. You tie this bit over here. This is what it looks like closed. And I love this jacket. It is so, I don't know, late 60s, kind of a Stevie Nicks look too. I could see this being sold in Themis, the boutique that Pamela Curson, Jim Morrison's girlfriend, had. this could be sold there. I don't know. I just really fell in love with it and the detailing. And I just remember seeing it at a thrift store and I knew I needed it. And I have worn it a lot, so this is definitely a good purchase. Moving on with something that definitely isn't quite a jacket. It's a cape, but a really, really nice little one. This is also that kind of plush material that the leather jacket is made of. So it kind of looks like it is fur, but it definitely isn't. Like, just touching it, I'm 100% sure that it isn't. It is such a cute little look. That little cape, I don't know, the little shiny bow, I really like it. I think it is so cute with a bunch of 60s looks. I feel like in the 60s, there was this entire popularity for doll-inspired looks, and I think that this really feeds into that. I feel like if it was white, that would even work better with the look. But honestly, I like that little black one. I found it at a thrift store, I knew I needed it, and haven't regretted it ever since. And then last but not least on this pile is this jacket. I recently thrifted it. This was like such a good find. It was very inexpensive. Look at the cool collar, look at the nice lining it has, that like little plasticky belt clasp, and everything about this jacket just screams early 70s to me. It is so dreamy. I love it. It's honestly such a cool piece. It can be worn in so many different ways and I really like it. And I think with this I might retire that other leather jacket that I layered. With this I was thinking about retiring another leather jacket, which I'm just going to show you next so that you kind of understand what I'm talking about. But now that I look at it, this is definitely more of like a blazer style, and it's also an entirely different color. So I feel like this might also stay in my collection. Also look at that little hanger. I think I got this from my grandma too. It's kind of like a knitted hanger. Yeah, what can I say about this? This is just like a blazer style jacket. I do really like that leather color. I thrifted it. It doesn't have a tag or anything. It's a very timeless classic design and I do really like it. This one's definitely a little bigger on me than that other one that I just showed you. It doesn't really matter to me. I really like it. I think it's a nice shade of leather. I think it is a very cool color. And to be quite fair, I really like this jacket for a more laid back look, but I also think that it works really well with like a kind of more dressier black look. I think this shade of leather just works really well with black. So yeah, this is definitely a jacket I wear a lot. Moving on with this jacket that also isn't quite vintage is Desigual, which I don't know if that's like a popular brand anywhere besides Europe. These are, I think it's a Spanish brand, and I got this coat at a thrift store too. I remember it being very inexpensive, and I do love that kind of pattern. I think like the way that it is made, it's even like that structured Afghan coat that I showed you earlier. It's that kind of brocade fabric that I really, really love. However, I think it is a little big on me, and I'm just so unsure what to do about it. Please leave a comment down below telling me what I should do with this. I'm thinking about giving it away. I don't know. I really like it, but I just, honestly, I don't wear it that much because it doesn't fit me the way I would love it to. Moving on, this is that other jacket that I talked about. Judging by the tag, I think it's rather from like the 80s or 90s. I really like this jacket. It's a lot more oversized. To be honest, I don't wear it that much, but I think it would be cool with like a bunch of buttons or patches. I just picked it up because I liked the fit, but I always thought that I needed to do something with it, and I haven't quite decided it. Would you be like interested in seeing me make this one over to be more of like a late 60s look? Because I love the buttons with like all the stars. I feel like this would be really cool for like a Woodstock kind of hippie festival jacket. So yeah, let me know if that would be something you're interested in. This next jacket, I also don't actually think is from the 60s or 70s. This is probably from the 80s, just because it's a little looser, but I just so fell in love with the red leather and everything. I think what's so amazing about this jacket to me is just how soft it is. Like this kind of worn in suede leather is just so cool. And then I said the color, I remember thrifting this in Budapest. I don't think it was that expensive. I'm not sure, it was probably around 30 bucks or something. And I really like it, even though it doesn't like perfectly work with my style because it is a little more oversized. I think it kind of works in like a 60s, 70s way. I think if you style it right, it also works. I think the outfit that I'm just gonna choose to try all these on is gonna be a very basic 1960s look, so that I also have like a blank canvas and can see which of these jackets might work in a different way than what I usually do with them. Keeping it going with the suede, and then afterwards we're moving on to a bunch of fur coats. I have this suede coat. I do really like it. It's like a classic coat with a little tying belt, and this doesn't have any buttons or anything, so you just tie it in the front. And I do really like this one. I have to be honest, I do have this one and then also the other one that I just showed you, which is corduroy. They're a little similar in color and in shape, but I love them both. I don't think I could part with either one. I know I have a bunch of jackets, but I honestly love them all and I also wear them all, so I think it is okay. Next up, my most treasured little fur coat. I love this one so much. This was a charity shop find. It was really inexpensive. I love like the little design that it has with that wave form. I also really appreciate the way that the sleeves are just so big and oversized, and I think that this kind of has a similar cut to the red jacket that I just showed you, but because the jacket is shorter, it doesn't really look that much, it doesn't really have that distinct 60s look. This jacket, because it is so oversized, it's kind of like a baby doll style, it just works so well. As said, this is also, I feel like, feeding into that puppet style, into that like doll kind of look that was popular, and it is so soft, so nice. It's one of my prized possessions, to be honest. This is a very similar jacket, but it's also kind of different. It is shorter, it has sleeves that are also a little more cropped, and the biggest difference is that this one is fake fur and this one has the coolest little vintage tags, and it like says in the tags that you should clean it the same way that you like should clean fur. So it says for cleaning only, which I think is so funny because you can see in the lining and everything that this definitely isn't fur. I do really like this jacket as well. It is a lot bigger on me, but because the sleeves are cropped, I feel like it still gives me a silhouette that I really like. Another big trend in the 1960s. Oh, I also made like an entire video on styling coats. I'm just gonna link that right here. But I thought because in that video you requested me to... But because under that video there were so many questions about my entire collection, I figured I'd show you the entire one. So this was a big trend, wool coats. I think wool was also so popular. So wool and fur are obviously natural materials, and that was just popular in the 60s. I feel like in the 70s, I talked about this before in a video, how in the 60s and 70s a lot of these like plastic materials like polyester and acrylic were first made, and so going into the 60s, wool and fur were just the primary materials when it came to jackets, and they're also really warm. Like this jacket is so warm. It is a little big on me, but I just love it. It's such a cute look. I love this little detailing here in the back. I remember getting this I think in the summertime, and that's why it was very inexpensive. It was like 5 times on sale and marked down at the thrift store, and I really love it. The little fur collar makes it very... The little fur collar is such a nice detailing and is very distinct for that time. Keeping it going with another jacket that isn't vintage. This is an Esprit jacket. I think Esprit is also just a brand that isn't popular anywhere besides Germany and maybe France. I remember getting this when I was like 15, 16, getting into the 60s and 70s, and I just saw it and I thought that it kind of had like a 60s, 70s feel to it because of the way that it is cut, and I still like it. You can definitely see it has been through a lot, and I don't really wear it that much anymore, but because this was one of like the first pieces that I got when I started dressing 60s and 70s, it just has a special place in my heart. So I'm just gonna keep holding on to this for a little longer. I don't know, I feel like eventually I'll part ways with it, but it's also in rough shape. I don't think anyone wants it. Maybe I can donate it or just sew something out of it. This jacket really has done me a good service, honestly. It was a good jacket. Next up, I have this jacket, which is kind of like a woolen jacket as well, but the cut is just a little different. I love how it is lined in orange. I think that that's honestly so cool, and then also the pockets are lined in orange. This is kind of like a blazer cut, but then it has that wool material. So that's just really nice and cozy and great for like a laid back 60s and 70s look. And I also love that I can kind of like roll up the sleeves and then it exposes the really nice orange color from the inside. This next jacket is one that I also got when working with a brand. This is by Jumper Fabricant. I worked with them about a year ago, and I do really like that jacket. I think it is quite similar to the one that I showed you in the beginning that my mom got. It also has the houndstooth, and what I really like about this one is all of the details, like especially the little velvet trim. I think that that's really cool. It creates some really nice structure around this jacket that I do really love. I also love the color scheme. I think everything brown was just popular at the time, and this jacket is also very thin, so it is great for spring and summer, or just to be worn as like a pullover during the winter time. I love to layer with this one as well. Moving on to the next Penny Lane coat I got for free. This was listed on, I think, Facebook Marketplace, eBay. I don't quite recall it, but what I know is that it had a big hole somewhere in the back, and basically the woman was like, well, it's still cool, it's like such a nice jacket, it has these really cool clasps, but one has to fix it. And so I was like, I'd love to fix it, and so she ended up gifting it to me, and it is honestly perfect. I had to put in like a little bit of work, but it's such a cool coat. It is very long, a little oversized, but sometimes I like how plain this is compared to a bunch of other coats that I have. To me, this is a very Sharon Tate inspired look, and I really love to wear this. This is definitely a coat that I don't wear during like winter when it is very cold, but it's more of like a jacket that I wear during fall and spring when it's still chilly out but not freezing cold. I just want to say that the jacket pile over here is up to like here, but I also only have one more jacket left. I hope that I haven't forgotten anything. I just went through the closet and picked all of these out. There might be some more jackets somewhere, but I feel like for now this is like definitely the biggest part of my collection. So this jacket is probably the oldest one that I have. So this is also from H&M, and I don't mean oldest by age, but I mean oldest to the first one that I had, oldest in my collection. This I got while I was still in school, probably, I don't know, 12 years ago, 10 years ago when I was 14 maybe, something like this. It's a woolen coat, and it is in a little bit of a rough condition because I just had it for so long, but it is so timeless. It's such a cool timeless look that I honestly love. And I think that this collection, I hope this goes to show you that you don't have to have exclusively pieces from the 60s, 70s. I would say 3/4 of the clothing and jackets that I just showed you are originally from the 60s and 70s, but a bunch of them aren't, but they still have that look. So if you go into the thrift store, I would just encourage you to be a little open-minded and kind of go by materials that you want. As said, wool, fur, suede, houndstooth, these are just patterns and materials that were popular at the time, and then kind of go by cuts. Like I think for coats, either like a looser kind of baby doll shapeless cut or something that is a lot more tighter. These were just kind of popular silhouettes, and if you go by that, it doesn't really matter if these pieces are originally from the time, because you can definitely make them look the time period. So yeah, that's it. These are all of my jackets. Let me know if you want other genres of my wardrobe to share with you. I think I've made a video showing you all of my dresses, but it's been a couple years, so there are definitely more dresses now, and then some dresses that I don't have anymore. So yeah, let me know if you would want to see anything else, and also which of these jackets was your favorite, and please help me with the ones that I asked you about, because I don't know what to do with them. Yeah, I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you for spending time with me today. Go out, enjoy the sunshine, take yourself some time to focus on you and your mental health today, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye dolls!